Hi, this is Bernadette Keogh from Mindful Living Coach, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about self-compassion in action. So during our self-compassion challenge, we've really been learning how to recognise those moments of stress and discomfort or suffering in our lives, and in those moments being aware of our self-talk and applying some self-compassion, be it in the form of placing a hand on our heart or our cheek or our neck and saying some kind words of support in those moments. So we've done some great progress on applying self-compassion, and now I just want to give an example of self-compassion in action, i.e. how all this wonderful work we've been doing on ourselves in the last 30 days is actually going to have a knock-on effect for the people that we love in our lives and also people we meet on a day-to-day basis. So I want to give you a personal example of self-compassion in action. Recently I was in the car with my boyfriend. He was driving to a race. He's a competitive cyclist, so he had a 100-kilometre race that we were driving to. We had left plenty of time to get to the race. We'd left 2 hours and it was an hour journey. Normally my boyfriend wouldn't be driving himself. His dad or a friend would normally drive. So already he was stressed about the race, and then he had this added stress of having to drive there, a route that he wasn't familiar with. And we were using our sat-nav to find a route, so it should have been easy. However, half the main roads had been closed and motorways had been closed on the way to the race. So that again added an extra layer of tension and stress in the car. Not only that, our sat-nav kept trying to send us back down the roads that were closed, so it couldn't recognise they were closed, and we couldn't work out, or I couldn't work out, how to explain that to the sat-nav. So the sat-nav kept sending us around in circles, and these were highways that you couldn't get off, so one wrong turn meant another 20 minutes in the wrong direction to get back on track again. So again, I'm starting to feel stressed just thinking about it. But you can see the stress that was building up in the car, in particular for my boyfriend. And as we were driving, we were coming up to quite a critical turning point, and I decided to make a comment about, wow, I'm really glad that I don't have to drive to work every day because it's quite stressful. And my boyfriend turned to me and told me to shut up. So I had been dating my boyfriend for 18 months. He'd never said a cross word to me in that time. So it was a bit of a shock, I have to say, when he told me to shut up. And I found myself looking out the car window saying to myself, don't show you're upset, don't show you're upset. And then I thought, wait a minute, this is a moment of stress or suffering, and I need to acknowledge that. So I started to apply self-compassion. So I was able to say to myself, I am upset actually, and I placed my hand on my heart, and just for a moment I allowed myself to feel that, and I applied self-compassion. Now what had happened wasn't acceptable for him to speak to me like that, but I decided now was not the time to address that. So it wouldn't have been helpful if I had addressed what he had said to me there in that moment. So I chose not to. And within the time that I had been applying self-compassion to myself and comforting myself a little bit, my boyfriend had apologised for what he said. And at that point, I was able to look at him and see his suffering, the intensity of the stress and pressure that he was feeling that had caused him to react in such a way. And when he apologised, I was able to turn to him and say, how can I help? How can I help? So first and foremost, I came back to myself in that situation. I comforted myself. I got back to a place of balance. And then I was able to see the situation clearly. I was able to see what was really going on, and that was this lovely guy under this intense pressure which caused him to react in a certain way. And I was able to then offer him compassion and try and help his suffering ease his suffering. And really, I just think that this is quite a nice example of self-compassion in action. What we have been working towards, offering ourselves self-compassion, is something that now is going to reach out and touch everybody that we meet in our lives.